There's one on the chub. Nice. So today you'll notice I have two different rods here. I got both of these are the Eagle Claw Featherlight. That's the classic yellow there on my left, and here with this fish on it, it's the new Featherlight Pro. This is both their 7.6 models. So let's see, I thought I'd talk a little bit about which model of these budget kokanee rods might be right for you. It's got like a, oh, he's off. Dang it. Well, that one's still there. Oh, it's a heavy fish. These rods have long been really popular with kokanee anglers because of their affordability. You can't really just go on price when deciding between these two rods. There we go. That's probably right around 13, 14, but very fat. So between these two rods, Eagle Claw actually didn't get very creative. The blanks are, like I said, the exact same length, so they're 7.6, and they have the same number of guides and the same style of guides. So they have these metal insert guides instead of a ceramic inserts that are more common. These are definitely cheaper guides, and they've kept them, like I said, on both rods. And what I don't like about these guides is they are a little bit loud if you're running braid, but most people for kokanee are running monofilament, so that's not going to be too much of a problem. I don't notice too much line rubbing noise, and I've not really had any significant issues with line wear associated with these cheaper guides. Like I said, there's 9 of them, and they are spaced exactly the same on both rods. They have exactly the same reel seat as well, so there's no variation there. However, you will notice that there is a pretty significant difference down here at the end of the rod, and that is the classics still have a cork handle on the base here, although they have a compressed cork just on the foregrip, which is very small in front of the reel seat. Whereas on the Featherlight Pro, which has this really nice blue that fades to black coloration, they have the same compressed cork on the foregrip, but they've gone to a compressed foam with a shrink wrap over the top of that to give it some durability and grippiness. So a lot of guys don't like cork. It gets beat up going in and out of rod holders, but this wrapped foam tends to be a lot more durable and lasts a lot longer. So that's a nice upgrade for the Featherlight Pro. Good one right there. Oh, he was just chewing on it. Couldn't get him to commit. So you might be wondering, really, what is the difference between these two Eagle Claw Featherlight, the Pro versus the Classic? They have the exact same ratings on the rods. They're medium light, and the same ratings for lure, 1/16 ounce up to ½ ounce, although they definitely can handle a lot more than that. And they both are made of just glass blanks, so they're just fiberglass blanks. But these two blanks are very, very different. The Classic here is, I would say, is a very slow action rod. So it's very noodly. It bends deep into the rod. Whereas the Pro is a slightly faster. I wouldn't say it's not fast by any means. It's still a kokanee rod to the core, and it's very bendy. So it still meets all those expectations of a kokanee rod, but it's just not quite the noodle that the yellow Classic rod is. And I did a series of photos here where I put both of the rods up on the wall against the grid wall, and did one all the way up to 5 ounces, and I'm going to go through that, and you can see at 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 3 ounce, 4 ounce, and 5, it sorry, I got a fish on. The yellow Classic rod has a lot more bend in it just from those weights. Those are sort of the common weights I'd expect most people to be using when fishing for kokanee using snap weights or droppers. So both of these rods will load up extremely well on a downrigger. I've put both of them on my downrigger. They They do great, they flex great. Obviously, if I was fishing like Chelan, where I'm catching, you know, 9 to 11 inch kokanee at 150 feet, I think that those lighter bites are going to be a little bit more detectable on the classic yellow, because it is just a little bit more noodly, a little bit softer, a little bit slower, and it's also just brighter. That brightness draws your attention. Yeah, that's why I'm not a huge fan of like super dark kokanee rods. I like rods that have a little bit of color in them. I wish they'd put hot tips on them, just to make that bite a little more detectable. But they're both perfectly suitable for downrigger fishing. Now, when it comes to dropper fishing, I think, you know, the clear winner here is the Eagle Claw Pro. It's just has a little bit more power in the rod, so when you're bringing those fish in on those snap weights, there's still some flex in the rod. The rod doesn't bottom out quite like the Featherlight does, especially on larger kokanee and with larger weights. So in that regard, I feel they really are distinct from each other. So if I was making recommendations on these two rods, which rod is better suited to which angler, I would say that the Featherlight is suitable for folks who tend to target smaller kokanee. It's just going to make that fight more enjoyable. It's going to make that bite more detectable, especially when deep fishing on a downrigger. So, you know, if the bulk of your kokanee are, you know, 16 inches or smaller, this is a really good choice. Also, if you spend a lot of time downrigger fishing, I think you'll find that this is a more enjoyable downrigger rod, just that it's easier to detect the bite. It's okay for dropper or snap weight fishing. If you're typically fishing with 3 ounces or less, I think it's fine for that as well. It's a very versatile rod, so don't get me wrong, I think it's a great rod. However, I think that the new Featherlight Pro is an even more versatile rod. And I would recommend this rod for anybody who's running droppers or snap weights up to 5 ounces. So you can be targeting fish really deep with this rod using snap weights. It does great on a downrigger. It's a little bit stiffer, so it might be harder to detect those smaller kokanee bites at extreme depths. Most of the time, I've had no problem detecting bites, even with small fish on the downrigger. Oops, I just got a bump. But I do think it's more versatile in that it can go on the downrigger. It can handle those heavier weights on sliding rigs, droppers, snap weights. But also, it's I think it's a better flatlining rod because it's a little bit stiffer. It's going to help drive that hook home a little bit better when flatlining, and that's why I say the Pro is a little bit more of a versatile rod. All right, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below. I put links to these rods below to a couple different vendors. If you buy the rods through those links, it helps support this channel. Even if you want to get it at Sportsman's Warehouse, just buy online, pick up in store, and it really does help out this channel a lot. So I really appreciate you guys using those hyperlinks. They're a big part of what makes this channel possible. All right, like I said, hit me up if you have any questions in the comments section below, and I will see you next time. Just remember, fish smarter, not harder. Bye, guys.